Jeera rice is going to be so fragrant, you're just going to love it. Now, Jeera rice. Oh, it's so fragrant. It's just wonderful. I want you to stick around and watch all the good tips I'm going to show you about this, because, you know, making the perfect rice is what everybody wants to know. Now, also, I want you to know if you've got any comments about cooking rice, for example. Maybe you have some suggestions. I would love to see those. So when you put it into comment file, let me know, because I want to respond to that. Now, I'm Chef Don McMillan, and I'm just telling you, we've got so many great videos coming up using a variety of different ingredients. One of them is, of course, today's recipe, Jeera rice. Jeera rice is going to be so fragrant, you're just going to love it. Now, watch this, because I'm going to show you what to do to make this recipe. Okay, now, as you've watched in some of my previous videos, I love onions. I think I'd have to quit my job if I didn't have onions. But I want to show you again how to dice the onion perfectly. So you see it has two parts. The part of this is the flower part and the root part. You're going to cut the flower part off right there at the top. Turn it around, put your knife right there on the root, and then just slice that little piece off. Now you can see the root right there. Place your knife right at the center. Put your hand on top, push down, and what we're going to do is remove the outer 1 or 2 layers of onion skin, because that doesn't cook up very well, and we definitely want to have that off the onion. Now, I don't use it in making stock, because sometimes the onion skin makes it bitter, but you could put it in a compost pile. That would work. Here's our root. You see the root there. I'm going to make an invisible line on this side of the root, and then I'm going to put my point of my knife right there at that invisible line, and then just push down. This way the root is holding the onion together, just like that. Now it goes back a 1/4 turn. Place your knife right there. Remember, always hold your knife safely. 4 fingers on the handle, 1 on the bolt. Put your monster grip right here and just cut down like that. And now I'm guiding the knife exactly where I want it to go. And when I get to that invisible line, let it flip over, cut around like that, and we now have 100% of our diced onion ready to go. So the next thing we want to do is to go ahead and show you how to add flavor to your Jeera rice dish. So I have my ghee. I'm going to turn on my stove and just place the ghee right there in the center and let it heat up. Oh man, it's already starting to smell good, but wait till we show you the next important part. So, at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to toast our Jeera. Now, just in case you're wondering, Jeera, it's cumin. So we have our whole cumin seeds, and as they're heating up, they'll start to splatter around, which is what we wanted to do, because when that happens, the flavor is being released from the seed itself. And that's, as you already know, flavor is what we're all about. When we cook, we're adding flavor and value to our food. Now you can see the seeds are just starting to jump around. Let's give them a little bit of a stir. Remember to stick around, because you want to watch this whole video. I've got so many great tips and stories to share with you. Alright, now they're splattering. So at this point, I'm going to add in my onions. So these are the diced onions that we just did a little while earlier. Put them in there and let them get happy. Introduce them to our Jeera, or our cumin. And by the way, Jeera, or cumin, is a very important spice that's used in a lot of cultures. So it's not just an Indian dish that we're creating. It could even be, for example, a South American dish, or maybe even a Mexican style dish. So keeping that in mind, flavor is what it's all about, and we're just kicking this up a couple of notches. All right, now you know the reason I'm sauteing my onions is to bring out the natural flavors that are in there. And to help that a little bit, I'm going to take a little bit of salt and just put a tiny bit of salt in there, and that's going to help extract some of the sugars that are naturally in our onions. And as they're coming out, they're actually caramelizing on the bottom of our pan. So if you look in there, you can start seeing the little bit of a tan color, and that is exactly what we're looking for. So now that we've sauteed our jeera or cumin seeds, we sauteed our onions, we're going to add in our rice. So I have a cup of basmati rice, put that right in there. You may have noticed that I didn't rinse off our rice. Sometimes recipes call you to do that. I want to keep some of that starch into the rice because when I plate it up, I want it to hold its shape. And also sometimes when people rinse off the rice, they may think there's impurities in it, but I have found that the rice, that basmati rice that I buy here, is just perfect. And now I'm going to saute it for another minute. While that's happening, the rice is soaking up the flavor from the ghee, soaking up the flavor from the cumin seed, okay, and the onion. So all this flavor, we're just layering it on top. One layer on top of another layer on top of another layer. This food is just going to be so good. It's going to be a delight to eat. So now that we've done that, I'm going to add in my water. Now be careful when you do that, it's going to splatter and sizzle, so you'll hear a big splashback. Now let's give it a stir. And I've got more flavors to add, okay? Look, I've got some black pepper, so let me add in a little bit of black pepper. And I also am going to add in a little bit more salt. And by the way, our recipes are available, so when you get down to the comments, we'll have all of that for you. Now, I'm going to bring this to a boil, and I've got one more flavor to add before we put the lid on, and that is a bay leaf. Bay leaves add so much flavor. One bay leaf is all we really need. And I'm telling you, when you lift the lid on this, it's just going to hit you right in the face and wow, that is just delightful. So when you bring it to a boil, then I'm going to reduce it to a simmer. I'm going to put my lid on, and I'm going to put my timer on 18 minutes. That's how easy it is. Okay, this is a full boil. Look in the pot and you'll see it coming up to a full boil. I like that, you know, not just a simmer, but a really a nice vigorous boil. Now I'm going to turn it down to a simmer. Down, 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 barely, so that the fire is hitting the bottom of the pan. And if you have an electric stove, I usually put it on #1 setting, okay? Put my lid on, set my timer for 18 minutes, and I'll have perfect rice. Now, I'm going to show you some extra tips to make this rice even more attractive and more delicious. All right, now what I'm going to do is show you a wonderful garnish. Because we're doing an Indian or maybe a South American garnish, I like to use cilantro. So with cilantro, I've already washed it 3 times to get rid of any of that sand that's on there. And you may notice that I'm using the stems. So the stems have actually more flavor than the leaves themselves. So let's go ahead and chop all this up together. I roll it into a little ball with my hand, maybe a Gauss-sized ball. And now we're just going to turn it around and then chop some more, and then place your knife like this, and we'll go and chop. So flavor is so important in what we're doing. And that's why I'm just putting all this together. And now what we're going to do is place it into a little bowl so we'll have it available when we need it to garnish our food. And I always like to use edible garnishes. I don't like to use a garnish that someone would not eat. So we want to just go ahead and enjoy the full meal as we plate it. Okay, now we'll just wait just a few more minutes and our rice will be done. And then we're going to show you how to plate it and make it look just beautiful. Okay, it's been 18 minutes. Let's check out our rice and see if it's done. Oh, beautiful. And that bay leaf gives it such a wonderful aroma. And let's just check it out. Yep, perfect. Let's remove the bay leaf. We don't need that anymore. It did its job. And let's fluff up the rice. Get all those Jeera seeds going. Get the rice going. And flavorful with the onions. My goodness, this is just delightful. Well, let me show you how to plate this up. And remember, of course, I need you to subscribe and also like our video. And if you have any comments, let me know. I'd love to respond to you, okay? And also, please check out some of our other videos. We've got a lot to offer you, and they're all flavorful, they're all beautiful, and of course, we all know that the aroma and the flavor, which is everything. Let's go ahead and plate this up. I already sprayed my cup. I'm going to go ahead and place it upside down on my plate, like that. And look at that. Now, kick it up a notch with that cilantro that we chopped up. And there it is. This is our Jeera rice, or better known as Cumin rice, and sometimes even Indian Jeera rice. But we all know that it's simple and guess what? Delicious.